Dan Hicks, Rowdy Gaines, Andrea Kramer back at the 2011 duel in the pool and set for the first individual men's event. That would be the 400 individual medley. And when they introduced all of the swimmers, Rowdy, before they came out to start this meet, the guy that clearly got the loudest ovation was Ryan Lохте. And not only has he proved that he's the best all-around swimmer in the world, he's proved to be a most likable sort, laid back, and people just gravitate to him. Now, as far as being in the best racing shape right now, he is not. Why?
That's a good point. He's not in great racing shape. He's in great training shape. Greg Troy, his coach, is just known for beating his kids up. And unless it's the Olympics or World Championships or something really, really major, he's not going to be rested.
You won 4 golds at the World Championships in Shanghai, including in this event, the 400 IM. So lane 1 is open, so we start off with lane 2 and Connor Dwyer. He's looking to get on his first Olympic team. 200 IM champ at the Summer Nationals, Dwyer was. And you got Dinko Jukic from Austria right next to him in lane 3, coached by his father, Zelko. He and his sister went to the Beijing Olympics in 2008. And then Tайлер Клэри is in lane 4 for the U.S. 2-time silver medalist in the last 2 World Championships to Lохте. Lane 5 is Lazllo Cheh, the guy that's finished seemingly dozens of times behind Michael Phelps and has created a nice rivalry in this event with Phelps and Lохte. And then you've got Lохte in lane 6 on the outside lane.
Well, one thing I do notice about Ryan Lохte right now is he's got at least got a racing suit on. He didn't even have that a couple weeks ago. He had a training suit on at the national championship. So he's at least elevated his game to putting on a racing suit.
Lохte set that world record in Dubai a year ago today. And again, it's one of those very few records that were set since they changed the suit rule. So it makes it even more impressive. I mean, we were at those World Championships in Rome where there were, what, 43 world records set, and then they changed the suit rule, and all of a sudden, world records are tough to get.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been a handful over the last 18, 19 months. So yeah, the world records are tougher to come by. And getting back to Lохte for just a second, right there at the bottom of the pool, you see him right there with that black cap. I talked to him a little while ago and I asked him what the difference between now and a couple weeks ago, and he was horrendous a couple weeks ago. Admittingly so. He said he was just terrible. He was right in the middle of training. He said the difference is his short course meters. Short course meter, he uses his walls better. Long course, you'd need a lot more taper, a lot more resting to peak. Short course meters, you can kind of get by without doing a lot of resting. These guys are used to this dual meet format as well because they do a lot of it in college, and his career in Florida was dual meet after dual meet and having to get up and swim fast at those.
They're out pretty quick. In fact, they're under world record pace as Klary had the lead as they switched to the backstroke, and then it was Lохte who was second, and then Lazllo Cheh in lane 5.
Now, you talk about Tайлер Клэри, he might have the best front half of a 400 IM of anybody else in the world, including Michael Phelps and Ryan Lохte. The problem is his back half, and I shouldn't say problem, and he's been the silver medalist the last 2 World Championships, but he'll come back to the field. He'll come back to Cheh and even perhaps Lохte, depending on Lохte and where he's at, the back half. But Lochte's another guy, he doesn't want to let his team down, man. He's on the U.S. national team. It's a lot different than it was a couple weeks ago when he was just swimming for himself.
Well, Lохte, an excellent backstroker, is running second. Klary still has the lead.
And look at that, a second and a half under world record pace.
Yeah. So this is very fast. Clary's got him out, and it's a 3-man duel here between Klary, Lохte, and Lazllo Cheh of Hungary. So the Americans going 1-2 as they make the first turn there in this stroke.
And this is where Klary will fall back just a little bit. Now, Cheh is not the greatest of breaststrokers. He's a much better butterflyer and freestyler. He has a good freestyle, but boy, he has dug himself a hole. There's Cheh right there. He digs himself a lot. He digs himself a lot of holes, doesn't he?
Talking about
I'm talking about Cheh.
I was just going to ask you, does he have any kind of power here to come back in the back half of this thing?
It's going to be tough, even against somebody like Lохte, who's just so tired right now.
Because Cheh is coming off a sensational European Championships where he took 3 golds, and again, as we talked about at the top, the European team here in better racing shape than most of the Americans. So there's the world record as Klary has fallen behind that line a bit, so they've slowed down the pace. And Lохте beginning to inch up on Klary now, just under a half second behind Klary. So the Americans 1-2, way out ahead of Cheh here.
Ryan Lохте looks like a completely different swimmer, Dan, than he did a couple weeks ago. I don't even recognize this guy swimming right now. He is unbelievable at this point in his training. I still think he went back and trained very hard, but I think he let up the last couple days. He only needs a couple days, and look what a great race this is going to be between these two guys.
Well, this is fun racing. Lots of turns, short course meters, and Lochte's all about having fun and all about shining in the limelight here in a team atmosphere meet. Now he's taking the lead over Klary.
Watch his kick. See how much further he gets? Oh, he gets not much further, and then he's got that quick kick behind him.
Lохте feeding off the crowd here, where he is clearly the crowd favorite. And now he just loafs it home, eases it in ahead of Klary. And Cheh finishes third, so the Americans go 1-2 and pick up another 8 points in this men's 400 IM.
Easy swim. He makes it look easy, even when he's tired. You know, his turns are so good. They're nice and crisp, much better than they were long course. But once again, short course, when you're talking about so many turns, that's where he's so good at. And I think the backstroke to breaststroke turn right in front of you, there he is the toughest one, because you're having to go from your back to your stomach, and you can really end up crunching that wall. But look how straight he is coming off that wall. Nice tight back, nice tight stomach. And then the 300 to 400 turn, you see Klary still in it, Dan. I mean, he's still looking good. In fact, he still has the lead at that point. Once again, Klary is world class. Here's a guy that's one of the top 3 or 4 IMers in the world, and he may make the Olympic team in 2 or 3 different events next summer. Boy, it's tough to swim against that. Look at that last stroke.
And poor Lazlo Cheh in his typical position behind another American, in this case 2. Lохте and Klary go 1-2. They pick up the big 8 points. Cheh gets the 1 point for Europe. And so after 4 events, the U.S. 26, Europe with 6 points. So we didn't expect a lot out of Ryan Lохte, but he proved to us that he can come through here in the 400 IM early, as we send you down to Andrea Kramer.
And we really give Ryan Lохte credit for bolting over here after that race. You are a totally different swimmer than what we saw even 2 weeks ago. What is the difference?
You know, after Nationals, I wasn't happy at all. I mean, I think that's the first time I really got a wake-up call. And I mean, I just went back into training, hard training, and you know what? When it all comes down to it, I'm getting ready for London, and that's the big show, and you know what? I'm ready.
You're used to these dual meets in college. What do you take away from it? I mean, certainly all the walls and being really the best underwater swimmer, probably arguably in the world. What do you take out of this meet?
Well, I mean, I haven't done a college swimming for like 5 years now. But I mean, it's always good. This crowd is unbelievable. I mean, I owe it to the fans. Every stroke, every time I breathe, I can hear them. So they're really helping me out, and they're making this meet a lot easier.
Clearly the most popular swimmer here. Thanks, Ryan. We'll see you in a little bit. Danny?